is the first thing that I saw when this story came up. RBN has a blue check. So when I saw this, I didn't think nothing of it. I at first, I guess we're not really on it that much. We're not coming near 6,000 views.
Yeah.
So the point that I'm making is that I didn't know this was going to grow into a bigger deal than it was. So, but this is where it started. And let me read it. To address extreme levels of data scrapping and system manipulation, we've applied the following temporary limits. Verified accounts are limited to reading 6,000 posts a day. Unverified accounts to 600 posts a day. New unverified accounts 300 a day. Man, that's like an hour for me. But that was the first text, and then he updated it and said rate limits increasing soon to 8,000 for verified. 800 for unverified, and 400 for new verified. Now, let me go to the panel. What was your reaction? I know all of you tweeted about it. And so instead of going to your tweet, maybe you can just talk about your reaction. Whoever wants to chime in first, what was your reaction to these limits?
Go ahead, Keaton.
I was just going to say, yeah, I mean, I tweeted out just a little joke where, if we're limiting reading now, is this Dr. Fauci's burner account? That was the joke I made, but that wasn't a serious take. If I had to give a serious take, I would say, there's that scene in The Social Network, the movie about Mark Zuckerberg as he was founding Facebook, where I think came out 12 years ago, 13 years ago now. But as I recall, there's a scene where like the site goes down for a few minutes. And he tells his partner how that cannot happen. We cannot have an outage. If we have one outage, the whole thing goes away, right? This has to be free and accessible and functional for everybody all the time. That's how we're going to make this work. That's what makes social media as addictive as it is, as engaging as it is. So to limit use like that, because like you said, CJ, to an unverified user, 300 posts, I mean, that could be less than an hour if you're scrolling really fast, man. You just bang, 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 bang.
Yeah.
It really disrupts people's experience on a platform like social media. For all of its flaws, right? It is a sort of democratized social space, and to put limits on it in that way, and to sort of paywall the rest of the content, cough up $8 so you get 8,000 posts a day. It really changes what the platform is. Now, he's saying it's only temporary, so hopefully it goes back to the way it was. But also the other point about Elon is, when you talk about scraping and what was the other thing, he throttled the Substack links because he was claiming that they were using his API. I mean, this is something that I would imagine would affect a lot of people in his shoes. Capitalist that he is, he's a little too protective of his own property to be in the social media business. Social media is about sharing, right? Whether it's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or even YouTube, right? We play copyrighted clips. If it's fair use, they let us do it because that's the idea. The idea is anybody could do it. Anybody could share pretty much what they want. That's how you create a democratized space. That's the way these platforms are supposed to function. And stuff like this goes right in the face of that brand and creates a totally different kind of experience. So that would be my take. I mean, hopefully it's just temporary.
Okay, so I can't guarantee that this is true, but sometimes right-wing media will break this kind of thing, and it will, in fact, turn out to be accurate. They're claiming, or some of them over there are claiming, not the Fox, like the alternative media right-wing, they're claiming that this is about AIs watching Twitter for trending topics and using it to manipulate the internet for censorship and to manipulate what trends. So that's what they're claiming. We'll see if some of the more reliable. It could be. It could be.
Well, the thing
that's
is,
why I'm saying that's the only place I've heard that.
We see, but I think that's just them trying to defend Elon because I'm gonna tell you how I really feel about him. But go ahead, kid.
Well, I was going to kind of a little bit add to what Russell said in regards towards AI, but Twitter's had, like all social media, it's not unique, but Twitter's had a serious problem with bots and fake accounts, and it is one thing to theorize that could happen, but also another thing too. I think from my perspective, the amount of people that are truly addicted to social media and what it does to them, remove it, and it's like removing a drug. People don't know how to cope. And I was, I was outside doing some errands when this was happening. And I was overhearing a conversation like, I got to get access to my Twitter feed. Why isn't it working? What's going on here? It's not working. And this person sounded just like an addict that you would hear on the streets. Right. I just need a quick fix. I really have to wonder what's going to happen to us and this is just one example. Okay. But for a general thinking, I'm wondering how many other people are acting like this person right now. And imagine what would happen if Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all that was down for a considerable amount of time. How would we act? Because all this technology that we have right now, it never evolved alongside us. We created something that is uniquely new to us as a species, and we have made it very compatible to our livelihoods now, to where now we cannot function properly without having our quick fix of social media. I'm glad I'm not that addicted to it, but I have to wonder how many of our fellow citizens are just addicted to the idea of always being glued to your screen. That's nightmarish in its own right. So maybe it's not the Orwellian tubes, but it's pretty darn close to it.
An electromagnetic pulse would be the best thing to happen to philosophy and art in the past 2,000 years.
Yeah.
This was one of your takes, Nick, on the whole Elon. So if you want to read it and discuss, go ahead, sir.
So this is what when I saw this, I was like, man, the French protest shit is popping right now. So I log on Twitter, trying to see what's going on with the French protest. You want to know what I say? Rate limit extended, and I didn't log on the entire damn day. Now you guys know how my mind works. I'm like, how convenient that Twitter goes down and this happened right during when France is on the crisis and getting close to the Civil War. But conspiracy aside, can we call out Elon Musk and can we take a victory lap at RBN for being right once again? When I told you guys, you are ridiculous if you believe that Elon Musk or any billionaire gives a fuck about free speech. When Elon Musk was marketing himself as a free speech warrior, that is exactly what he was doing. He was marketing himself to you fools because he's a capitalist and capitalists market themselves. Because so you want to know what someone who's a smart businessman does? He look at trends. You look at the market. You guys see what's going on here, right? And Elon saw polls. He saw the rise of right wingers talking about free speech. He saw the rise of that. He like, I am going to capitalize on that, and he did. Got a legion of fans that pretend he actually gives a fuck about these things. So I'm gonna ask you guys a question: how is it free speech if you limit who can view the speech? Free speech, you gotta pay for it.
Well, no, of course. I mean, look, he's been just extremely inconsistent, extremely impulsive about all of this. But to your point, Nick, when you talk about his brand, about him marketing this as a more of a free speech platform than it was under Jack Dorsey, that Blumenthal clip that I cut out from the speech and put up, that got 300 and something thousand views. This is not praise of Elon, but I don't know if that would have gotten as many views under the Dorsey regime, because that kind of stuff was just more tamped down upon. So in principle, is he a free speech warrior? No, obviously not. He banned Garland Nixon. He's banned all kinds of people for all kinds of reasons, right? But I think his brand is a more laissez-faire sort of attitude towards speech, and so there are things I feel comfortable saying on Twitter that I don't feel comfortable saying on YouTube. Right?
Elon Musk brought incremental change to Twitter.
He brought incremental change. That's a good way to put it. Because look, if we're being honest, there are things we feel uncomfortable saying on YouTube, especially about certain airborne viruses, right?
Of unknown origin.
Right, exactly. There's a lot we would not say on this channel now that we would feel perfectly comfortable firing off 140 character tweet about, right? Or even posting a short video to that platform, right? So it is freer than it was. But in principle, no. Is he a committed free speech advocate? Obviously not. I was never under any illusion that he was.
If you limit the amount of people who can view tweets, what happens during situations like what happened in France, Elon.
Well,
if you
France-
limit, no, listen. If you limit
Yeah.
the amount of people who can view tweets, what happens in a hurricane situation? What happens in that's why having a free access social media site is what the people need. You doing this shit, it's still you being a market manipulator. That is not what we're looking for. And that's why I laugh and I say, yes, it's incremental change. But the overall point I'm making that he's still full of shit, and he's still putting limits on the platform that is meant to hurt us. Because there's nothing that the ruling class wants more than to limit our ability to share information. Now, I am not on Twitter nearly enough to see 6,000 tweets. When I saw the news, I'm like sweating. I'm pissed because people broke down how implementing this will lead to the website crashing more, which is once again the point of limiting the flow of information. But if you limiting the flow of information like he does, that is against the interest of the proletariat, no matter how you market yourself. Yes, it's a change. I think you guys are correct. Not putting back on against what you guys said. It's an incremental change. But Elon Musk is a free speech fraud, and that's what we've been saying from the beginning. Because even if you're not on Twitter that much, you gotta acknowledge that there could be situations where people need to see information, and he's playing his part, just like Mark Zuckerberg or any other oligarch is limiting the flow of information. Yeah, he may go about it in a different way, but that is mostly what this is about. But anyway, I'll pass back to the panel.
Well, didn't Macron want certain materials related to the protests censored on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, right? Didn't he actually ask for that? Yeah,
and then Twitter conveniently go down.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what I mean. That's what's a little.
So I don't have any evidence for that. I just point that out because I love conspiracy theories. But I think that's very convenient that that they guys test this.
Well, he asked for
the website.
He wanted it.
Well, I think we're looking at a few things with Elon. I think he legitimately believes that he cares about free speech, because you got to remember, who are his main customers for his main business? Libs for Tesla, right? So there was always a lot of downside for him to take an adversarial position with them regarding speech on their most beloved platform, Twitter. But it is like an aristocrat believing in a cause rather than a populist believing in a cause. In other words, this aristocrat might feel like, yes, we must save the tiger, right? But what's he really going to do to save the tiger? What does he do when it becomes inconvenient to save them? Well, we can kill a few tigers. Well, certainly we need our tiger rugs. We're not going to give that up. So you're dealing with somebody. I don't think Elon Musk thinks this is a scheme, but he's going about it the way that an aristocrat who has all the power in the situation would go about it. Also, look, he wrote a check that his ass could cash, but it cost him a lot of fucking money. Twitter was never profitable. It never made anybody any money. He tried to get out of it. He opened his mouth very impulsively, and the board of directors was like, no, you can't back out now. You made a firm offer, motherfucker. We'll take you to court. We'll take you to court. So he was forced to have to do it. So now a lot of this is him trying to figure out how to make a business that he way overpaid for, that had never made a dime, profitable. So I think you've got all that mixed up in the very erratic, impulsive decisions he's been making.
He's trying anything he can to make a platform worth something, which, again, all social media, when you really look at it, all it is people posting what they think on a wall. I would compare it to what you see in public restrooms, graffiti in the toilet room. I mean, somebody wrote something. Either you're going to see something funny or something offensive. I mean, God almighty, the amount of stuff I've seen in my lifetime, and I would compare that to a Twitter post. I would compare that to what you see on Facebook or Instagram. Somebody's just posting what they feel at that one point in time. There's no profit in it because its value gets turned into a rotten banana.
It's very, very tricky to figure out how to feel about Twitter, because look, I'm seeing this in the whole alternative media space, left, right, everybody. Everyone's trying to build a rumble boat real quick because they all see this space sinking, right? Anybody who's got two eyes and two ears can see, especially when they start blaming alternative media for the fact that whether it's Biden or somebody else is probably going to lose. They're coming for us. We're seeing all of these people in this space more and more trying to shift their audience over to Rumble. Twitter, over the course of this election, may be the only highly visible platform that for the most part allows free speech. So it's complicated. It's complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, he'll let something like that Blumenthal video on. At the same time, he's like the Queen of Hearts. You never know when he's going to wake up and go, off with their heads.
Right, you just never know.
No longer, from now on, only 15 characters and only if you're typing from a bathroom.
Right.